Hi, welcome to this week's G.I. Joe toy review, where we'll be reviewing Sergeant Flash. But before we get to Sergeant Flash, I'd like to make a shout out to the Back to the Media store on South Loudon Street, 41 South Loudon Street at the Walking Mall here in Winchester, Virginia. So if you're in the area, check it out because you can buy, show, and trade classic video games, vinyl records, vintage toys, comics, DVDs, Blu-rays, cassettes, and more. So come and check them out. So let's get to Sergeant Flash, and starting with his file card, where it says Laser Rifle Trooper, codename Sergeant Flash. His file name is Anthony S. Gambello. Primary military specialty is infantry. Secondary military specialty is electronic CBR, which the CBR stands for chemical, biological, and radiological. Now it'll be CBRN. Chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. His birthplace is Lodi, California, and his grade is an E4. Sergeant Flash is highly skilled in many sports and electronic technology, and is capable of equipment repair in the field. Specialized education, electronic school, chemical school, covert electronics, classified expert M16, M1911A1, and the XMLF A1 or 1A solar laser rifle, which is actually his laser rifle right there, which I'll get to in a minute. And the quote here underneath it, just to say who it's from, but it's a quote. And it says, Sergeant Flash is methodical and persistent, has an inanimate and unshakable faith in the order of the universe. He is working on his master's degree in electronic engineering, nights, which means he's all taking on Cobra during the daytime and study at night. So let's take a look at his accessories. Here is the XMLF 1A laser rifle. Beautiful sculpt on this laser rifle. And what's ironic is the Russians were actually the first ones to develop a laser weapon. And as you can see, this also got this great typical original hose. And he also comes with the backpack, which is a generator pack, I would think, for his laser gun, which you could actually plug the end of the hose right there, and you could also plug part of the gun in there, that little hole right there, with that little plug right there, could go into that hole, so you don't have to worry about carrying the pistol the rifle in his hand. He also comes with his standard green helmet with a up and down visor. The helmet is removable, so is the visor, but the visor is very easily lost. But it's a nice little helmet, and he comes with his typical 25th anniversary G.I. Joe stand with the upraised Cobra logo, with the upraised G.I. Joe logo right there in the front with 2 foot pegs. Codename Sergeant Flash in the front. So let's take a look at Sergeant Flash. As you can see here, with his head sculpt, brown hair, Caucasian fella. His uniform is mostly gray with the patches of red, so that way, because of the so that way he won't damage himself with the laser rifle. It's kind of like a minty green kind of look, front and back with the silver straps for the arm patches. He's got this olive green looking arm pads or wrist pads and gloves. Continues down to his waist piece, which you actually see is the Hasbro logo right there on the front of his belt. Hasbro didn't really have an issue with hiding their logos on their merchandise. It comes with a standard green belt. His waist piece is also green. Nothing real spectacular about it. Come down to his legs. He's got the green material on it on his shirt, and also got the red pads on his thighs. And he also has right there on his back of his calf some kind of strap on the back of his legs. It only goes on the back of his legs. and down to blue boot or brown boots. So let's take a look at the articulation of Zap here in a second. Let's take a look at his articulation, starting at his head, where his head can it's kind of rough, kind of stiff a little bit, but he can swivel 360. He can lift his arm to about that high. Mine's a little stiff a little bit. He can rotate his arm 360 right around this way. Bends at the elbow. Swivels at the elbow. Swivels at the wrist. Of course, he's got the ab crunch. It can twist and turn at the waist. But it's kind of hard to do it with one hand. But you can see the ab crunch. Typical T-hooks at the legs, which you'll come to expect in G.I. Joe figures. Spread his legs about that far. Lift his leg about so high. And like most modern G.I. Joe figures, he's double knee joint. So the only two so far that I've known that's got the single knee joints in the modern figures would be the 25th anniversary Destro and Roadblock. Are the only ones I know with the single knee joints. And you also have rocker at the ankle, as well as swivel at the ankle. And that's the articulation of Zap. Let's look at Zap all set up. Oh, and actually, did I say Zap? I actually meant Flash. But here's Flash all set up. And like I said, here he is battle ready. But if you also want, you can also take it out. And hook it right there into his hole right there. I'll show you how it. I'll show you when it's set up like that. And that's what Flash's laser rifle looks like hooked up to the backpack. And that was a look at this week's highlighted figure of the week, which is Sergeant Flash. And another shout out back to the media, 41 South Lounge Street. Go check them out. It's a nice little store. If you're here in the Winchester, Virginia area, or if you're visiting Winchester, please check it out. So tune in next week as we review Cobra's Wilderness Trooper, the codename Range Viper. So that's it for this week. So always remember, G.I. Joe is G.I. Joe, and have a good week.